on the pitch, running fast through the night. Every heart beating loud under floodlit sky bright. So to London stand strong, in the stands they belong. Voices echo like thunder, to the club they sing along. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. King's fire in his eyes, glory's what he seeks. With every goal he flies, rising to new peaks. From the lake to far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. From the lane to far and wide, with the pride of the fight. On this journey we'll ride, with our passion burning bright. Up in Spurs we arise, eyes on the prize. Victory in sight with all our might. With all our might. With all our might.
Hello. Welcome to THFC Till I Die. I am Tequila, and yes, I am the host of tonight's show. Don't worry, I'm not alone. Boris will be joining shortly, and Carl Simpson should be joining also later on. A bit of an impromptu stream because if you haven't heard, Dermo's a bit under the weather with his back, so he's going to be out of action for a couple of days, and also so is Philip. So, and Com also is away on holiday. Congratulations, Com. Hope you're enjoying yourself, mate. So that leaves it just down to me. So I said to myself, okay, so I'm just going to do a stream. It's going to be a little bit of freeform. It's going to be a little bit, as the title suggests, a little bit of randomness. There's no genuine layout, so to speak. We're going to talk some Spurs if you want, and we're going to leave it up to the chat a little bit to decide what it is you guys want to talk about. And a lot of times, of course, we want it to be via super chats and stuff, but on this occasion, because it's going to be freeform, because it's going to be impromptu kind of thing, we're going to see what people in the chat want to talk about. Primarily football, but it hasn't got to be. We can differ a little bit. We can have a bit of fun with it, because it is a little bit of a break for Spurs. I know it's only been 3 games, so we've only just started the season, but this is the international break, so we can take it away from Spurs. If you guys want to talk about something else, let me know. But let me see if there's anybody in the chat watching. Let's have a look. Nobody so far. I know there's 5 of us watching, so big ups to anyone watching right now. As I said, Boris will be joining me shortly. I can see him in the background there. And we will start by speaking some Spurs. Transfer window's over. We've had 3 games. We're on 4 points. I think I predicted initially that I thought that we'd get 6. I did think we'd lose to Newcastle, but I thought we'd get 3 points at Everton, home to Everton, and we get 3 points away to Leicester. So I suppose on that ratio, I'm 2 points off what I thought. So I can't sit here and say, oh, we've done terribly, but it's a slightly below par. That's where I'm at on the first 3 games of Spurs. I mean, the transfer window is over, so we are stuck with what we've got. And we'll have to make do until January before the palaver starts again. Now, I have been given permission by Dermo to do this stream with his blessing. I don't think he's watching right now. But as far as what we're going to talk about tonight, nothing really is off limits. The only thing I will say is there's been a lot of drama today with the Spurs community. If you don't know, then that's probably good. If you do know, then you probably don't need me to go over it, and I'm not going to talk much about it. I'm not even going to mention the individuals involved. I know who they are. I've watched all the videos. I have my own, obviously, opinion on it, as we all do. But still, it still fills me with disappointment, I think is the right word to use, that we are at each other's necks so much. And it just isn't really good, is it? It's not good for any of us, really. I suppose some people get subs out of it, I guess. But it's not, as a fan base, it's not what we should really be doing. You know, we get enough stick as it is from all the other fans. So to actually be at each other's cases like this, it's just, you know, it doesn't really, it can give us thought-provoking stuff, I suppose, and we can learn from each other, don't get me wrong, but some of the jabs I've seen us taking each other, some of the nasty things I've seen saying to each other, it surprises me. Right, so I have got two lovely gents in the background, and I will bring them on momentarily, if you bear with me a sec. This is actually quite new ground for me, believe it or not. So I'm just making sure everyone's ready, and then I'll invite them in. So we've got Boris and Carl in the background. I'm just making sure they're ready. You ready, guys? Bear with me a sec. I'll bring them in. I'll see if they're there. I don't know if you fellas are in yet, but I've added you to the stream. So
yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in as well.
Sorry, guys. Still getting used to this. Like I say, first time hosting. So how are you two chaps?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Just trying to do a stream, like I say, a bit impromptu stream, really. Bit free form. We'll have a laugh. We'll discuss some things. Spurs are not. Boris, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad. How are you enjoying the week without no Spurs? So what is it? You still watching? Are you going to watch the internationals, or is it just like, oh, you only care about the club football?
I'll watch the internationals. Even though they are they friendlies or the other ones? Yeah, qualification. I can't remember.
Yeah,
the Nations League or something like that. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, the whole Nations League thing. How do you feel about? Because they've got rid of the friendlies because they hate the term friendlies, and they've done this to, I guess, make the international games more attractive. But do you think it's worked? I don't think it does.
Just adds extra fixtures.
Well, that's all it does, isn't it?
Yeah.
Boris, how do you feel about it? Do you care at all about this?
It's a bit similar, but it also adds in a bit more like because we're now in Nations League 2 because we had a terrible performance the last time we were in the Nations League and we ended up getting put down into the Nations League 2.
That's right.
So we caused this sort of issue on our own fruition, really, because if we were still in Nations League A, we would have still been we would have only been playing friendlies, but we're not.
See, I think we did it on purpose because, like I told Dermo, who was desperate to play England, I said we will take the hit and drop down just so we can play you, and then we can get that over with.
That is true because he was really. Dermo had been really at us recently over these last few weeks, saying that Ireland's going to beat us and stuff like that, but.
He's passionate about his island, he is.
He is.
And I'll give him that.
It's a good side, though, this time, really, considering they do have some good players in their team.
I mean, I remember, it's not even that long ago. I mean, I know Carl remember, but I don't think, I'm trying to think, Boris, 2018 is when you started watching. We're not even going back that far, but you remember Damien Duff, Robbie Keane, all those players for Ireland. They had a good damn team. They really did.
Stephen Carr.
Yep, they did. Yeah. They had a good damn team. And they really should have gone through as well. And we all know about the Henry hand of God, their version of the hand of God with the Henry handball. That stopped them getting through. They have imploded a little bit with his Ireland, though. We won't talk too much about Ireland because I see Dermot's in a chat there.
He's in the
Um,
chat
You
and he calls
speak
himself
about
Ryan.
Ireland, it summons him. It's like when you talk about when you say Coleman's name 3 times, it summons him as well.
Yeah, I just take the mick out of United in one of the WhatsApp chats, and Con appears no matter where he is. He appears to
To
defend
be
it.
fair, the reason Dermot's not like under the weather, really. He's just getting his war paint ready.
That's the real reason, yeah. Big up, Dermo. We know you're not well, mate. So we'll take over while you rest up. But yeah. Okay. So we'll say hello to the people in the chat. Hot God 10, big up, mate. Good to see you here. Hello, good evening. Destiny 5. I think I just spoke to you, mate, didn't I? In Talking Bulls chat. So big up, mate. Nice to see you again. Nation League is a waste of our players' energy.
Well, none of our players are in it, so it doesn't really matter that much. We're not that lucky anymore because we don't have Kane. And Madison's just been poor enough that they're not even picking him.
We could do with Arsenal's players all being knackered. That'd be good.
That would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. And then Dermo himself saying, I care Ireland all the way. Come on, you boys in green. Big up Spurs, Stig, Carl, and the young Spurs Stig. You're the young Spurs Stig now, are you, Boris?
Well, I guess so.
Done. Yeah. Right. Stig Junior. Right. So, as I said, it's going to be a bit freeform. We're going to see if anyone's got anything that you really wanted to talk about. Hasn't got to be Spurs. We'll cover most things. Of course, be serious, guys. There's some things obviously we can't talk about. And no swearing probably for the next 5 minutes or so, and then it'll be okay. You have to get past the YouTube algorithm, you say. So, does either one of you have anything particularly want to start us off with? I know, Boris, you said you had a couple of things.
Yeah, one's relating to the Europa League squad, what was announced today.
Okay.
The Spurs, and we've only registered 23 players and not 25, and a certain player hasn't been included in that. That's been Jed Spence.
So, have you got the list in front of you?
Yep, I have.
Do you want to read it out for everyone, just in case they don't know?
Yep, no worries. So, goalkeepers, we've taken 4 because of the club training and the registration rules. So, those are Vicario, Forster, Austin, and Whiteman. For defenders, we've got Dragusin, Udogi, Romero, Porro, Davies, and Van der Ven. Midfielders, we've got Son, Basuma, Madison, Gray, Bergvall, Kulusevski, Johnson, Odebert, Sarr, and Bentencourt. And for the forwards, we've got Richarlison, Werner, and Solanke.
Right. So, off the top of my head, my first question would be, let's hope we don't get, or my first statement would be, let's hope we don't get any injuries to our fullbacks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Dragusin can play right centre back, but that's an actual right back. But that's actually right back. I don't know how he is about the inverted.
Yeah. And also, Van der Ven can play left back, but really, we don't really. It's one of those things where they can, but we don't really want them to.
It's not their natural positions.
Why do you think we've taken 4 keepers and not Jed Spence?
I think it's just registration rules.
Yeah, home base. We screwed ourselves over by letting Skip go and not replacing him with anyone who's a homegrown player.
Well, I hope that obviously Porro and.
Also, why would you take Ben Davis over Spence in the squad? Considering Ben Davis is only there because he refused to leave and he's going at the end of the season anyway.
My only answer would be is that Ange,
that's an experienced European player,
and he can cover centre back. Where Jed Spence can't cover centre back would be the only answer I've got for you, Carl. Whereas in his,
he's one of the 4 goalies.
I don't know. I can't answer it. What do you think, Boris?
Well, I think in regards to the reason we're taking 4 goalkeepers is, as Carl said, due to registration rules, and as well, because we didn't end up replacing Skip with a youngster, bringing through a youngster, so we don't have that aspect. Even though I said that Mikey and Lanky are going to be in the team, so I can't remember if you actually have to register under 21 players if the club trained. I can't remember. Yeah, so they wouldn't even have to be registered.
Yeah, I think they're allowed to just be there.
So, with that being said, then, is that any kind of sign for you that Ange is not prioritising Europa League, or is that not? Do you think I'm reading too much into it?
I just think he's going to use Young there if Porro can't play. I'd imagine. I can't. The team's good enough. It's just Spence. So.
I mean, Archie Gray can play. I suppose Archie Gray can play fullback as well.
Right back.
He can play centre backs, left back, right back, DM, CM, and attacking mid. He can basically play most roles on the pitch.
Yeah,
if asked of him.
I think it's just basically that. I think they realise that Gray can play right back if need be, and that was the one space they could cut.
So they really
thing is, they're regular and not even in the squad, so that says something as well.
Yeah. So they really.
The Turkish transfer window still open as well, and there was rumours that Regulon could be going back to Turkey.
You know what? I can see that happening. That's what we did with Sanchez last year, isn't it? We kept Sanchez longer.
I'd laugh if we went to Galatasaray, considering they're going to be our hardest opponent in the entire competition.
That's fine. We just fire it at Sanchez and just see what happens.
Let the comedy commence. Yeah, so it does seem whether any of us like it or not, that Ben Davies looks like it's probably going to be the backup left back / fourth choice centre half this season. I don't get it really. It is what it is. Cole just said that Ben Davies obviously he's going to leave, so this will be his last season. But obviously we couldn't get any money for it. How are you going to feel though? And you be honest. If we have an injury to Ndogi, and then Ben Davies is the one who ends up starting, not coming on, which is different. But if he's starting, and it's in a big game in the Europa League, like we get to the knockouts, and we've got to start Ben Davies against one of the better teams that are going to be left in the competition. It's going to end up being we're all going to sigh, aren't we?
Van de Ven doubles and double positions work again, isn't it, if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, Van de Ven will just have to come on and Dragutin will just have to come into one of the centre back positions.
That is what we'll have to do. We couldn't start Ben Davies. Surely not.
I feel Ben Davies will just start. I think even Ange knows this. He'll start just being cover for centre back. If Udogie gets injured, Mickey goes on the left, and Davies comes in as left centre back or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the first bit of conversation. Let me just catch up with the chat and see if anyone wants to direct the conversation. If not, we'll go on for the next one. Some say Dermo saying. Some say the Island #1 fan. He not the Spurs stick, he the young Spurs stick. That's you, Boris, I think.
Jesus.
I've never been Irish fan.
No, I don't know. Big up to you, Milton, again. How you doing, mate? Hope you're well, Tequila, Boris, and Carl. Keep up the good work, boys. Yeah, Milton, it's a bit of a, like I say, it's a bit of an impromptu stream because Dermo's gone down injured, so we're just putting something together. David Clark, big up, David. Liverpool, one of the tricks again. UEFA trying to pass a clause to get home and away fans to pay a low ceiling max price for tickets for the team playing in Europe, and Levy voted against it. I heard something about this. I have not read all of it. I did hear about it.
Don't.
If Carl, if you've got information on it, then please tell us more.
No, I was the same as David. I read the article and knew that's exactly what Levy were doing. I could not.
Yeah, it was Levy and two other teams. I can't remember what the other two teams were. I think they might be Roma and somebody else. I can't remember.
I'm not surprised, but that shouldn't surprise anyone that I'm not surprised that he does it. There's a big conversation regarding, and hey, we could start it tonight, but it might have to be its own show regarding the amount of money Levy charges fans. I know what the blowback is. The blowback is they all do it, and that's true. It's not like he's the only one.
Yeah. But I also see why they do it, kind of as well. Not saying I agree with it because I don't at all, but I also see why they do it because look, scalpers. Look how many scalpers would be out there if the tickets were lowered even more than they are. Yeah. And then they'd end up all getting bought out and sold off for massive amounts. Like, look at what happened with the Oasis tour, what's just come out.
That's
Multiple
right, yeah.
people have bought
Yeah.
multiple tickets, and they're literally selling it for like around £100 to £200, £300 profit. So they've had to open a few more dates to accommodate that sort of to counteract that stuff.
There was something on TalkSport earlier. I didn't watch it all. Like I said, I saw the thumbnails for it, and I think it was Darren Bent, the mighty Darren Bent, another Villa. So apparently Villa have done something like this as well with their ticket prices, haven't they, for the Champions League? Have you heard about this? Villa have been pricing their Champions League tickets incredibly high, and there's been a lot of blowback on social media.
No offense to Villa, I'm not saying this to the fans and stuff like that, but the Villa board think the club's bigger than they actually are. I'm not saying to the disrespecting their fans or anything like that. I know it sounds like I am, but no disrespect to them. It's a great club, but the board are trying to make them out like they're actually one of like the top 6 consistently, like Man United size club, Spurs size, Chelsea size, that sort of size club. When the board,
I think they're just trying to utilise the fact that it's their first time in the Champions League.
First time for a while, isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's the first time in a long time.
Wasn't it like the 89 or something when they were last in it?
I tell you what. I mean, I don't know about Carl, but I've been watching for about 27 years, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time I can remember Villa being in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think it is the first time. I've been over 35 years now, but I can't remember them ever getting that high up.
I mean, and the thing, I guess, and because the fans will pay it, that's the thing. The fans will probably pay it because it's the first time a lot of them in their lifetime have seen Villa in the Champions League, so they'll pay it. That's probably why they're doing it, because they'll know that the majority of the most hardcore fans will pay it. Yeah. Okay, so Demo again. I think he's talking about, this is a mistake by Ange. Spence should have been picked over Davis. He may be saying, okay, Europe, not that important. Like I said, I think the only reason I can think of is because Davis covers a centre half. So
there is also the fact that we could be doing it because 2 more players could be coming in January if you think about it, because it's 25 players you can register, and we've only registered 23.
They can re-register again in
January. How many extra players can they re-register? 3. Is it 3? Okay.
Yeah, so we've got 23 registered already, and we usually do like a couple of deals in January, don't we? Like a loan and a payment.
A couple we do, yeah. Okay. David Clark saying the Spurs squad isn't deep enough in quality players to win any European trophy. Okay, well we'll cover that a little bit. Do you agree with them?
Some positions, yes, but others, no. I'd say right wing, because left wing we've now got Wilson, who seems to actually be like a gem, but not still raw talent now. So we don't know exactly how good he is. But from the first few matches we've seen of him, he has been decent, and that's with him playing on his weaker side, that being his right.
Yeah.
Compared to his left, which we saw how good he was when Son was playing as a striker against Newcastle and Wilson on the left. We saw how good he was then.
How 2-footed do you think he is, Boris?
I don't think he's as 2-footed as Son or Kane, but I still do think he does have a strong other foot, because you saw what his crosses were like. They were the sort of same crosses you see from Porro on the right side, but you also saw it on his left side as well.
Yeah, he's not as bad as like Anthony for United. Then he can use his other foot to a decent level.
No,
but you're right. He's not. I mean, Son's amazing. He's weaker. His weaker foot.
Son's still probably in the top 10 left wingers in the Prem still at 32 years old.
Yeah, he actually his weak foot is nearly as good as his strong foot. Carl, what do you think? What David's saying there?
I think David's right. I think we're going to have to be really lucky with injuries. I think we're going to have to hope that we don't get any at all. And just hope that we somehow, like we did in the Champions League, where we got to the final, we sort of ride our luck a bit and get through that way. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't know. I think it just comes down to the fact that we didn't strengthen and cover all the positions we needed covering in the transfer window, I'm afraid.
Do you think a lot's going to depend on what kind of position we're floating around in, like February, when the second half of the tournament kicks off, when it becomes knockout? If we're if we're in the Champions League kind of places, then do you think it would be like, oh, well, okay, we're doing pretty well? But if we're like in 6th or 7th, do you think Levy's going to say to Ange, listen, mate, we're faltering in the league. I want us to be top 4. So
I think Ange should be like, well, we need to go for everything we're in. So if we're not all out going for these tournaments and trying to win trophies, I'm not sure why Ange is there. Because
I agree, mate. Yeah.
I want someone to battle for every competition they're in. And if he's going to just bow down to what Levy's got to say, then I don't see the point.
I hope you're right, Carl, mate. That's the best way I'll put it. I hope you're right. I have my doubts. Because I'm so jaded.
I also forgot we do have a player coming in January.
That's the
South Korean, and he's an actual right winger as well. So he's natural on that side, but he is 18 years old, but he's still had a decent turnout for his conversion rate for 25%. In all of his 29 appearances, he's got 25% goal participation in all of his 29 matches. So 25% of them he's done well in. So
to be honest, lads. I haven't heard of this kid before he was signed for us. Did you guys ever hear of him before? He was
no.
So, and be honest again. Are we jumping the gun, thinking it's going to be another song,
like we do,
or or are we expecting him to jump right into the first team kind of thing, or is it kind of like, no, he's going to be here? There's going to be a big culture shift for the lad because it is a very different culture.
Massive.
Yeah, well, I think that's why we're going to keep Son around still for a few more years. Anyways, I think we're probably going to even let Son retire at the club.
Yeah.
In regards to it, and then then Yang will actually have somebody there who's from his own country to actually help him integrate into here and get settled into the league and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just don't want, for example, people to think that he's going to appear and immediately like jump into the first team and be this sensation. I'm not saying it's impossible. These things can happen, but let's not all jump over across the kids if it takes him a year or so to just get used to the country alone.
Because wasn't Son like 22 or something when he moved to Spurs? He was something like that, wasn't he? 23. He was
I don't know how. Well, we signed it from Leverkusen, so obviously he went to Germany. I don't know what year he went to Germany for. How old he was when he went to Germany.
I don't know. He was quite young.
He might have been of a similar age to what this kid is going to be.
He was quite
23. Son was 23. Yeah.
I remember when we signed him.
Yeah, it was 2015 we signed him.
And the people were like, oh, Levy's bought cheap again.
Levy's bought cheap. And what names was he linked with that one? And everybody said, like, this one was the cheaper option.
I'm trying to go back to 2015 to see who else we were linked with at the time. Oh, it was a long time ago. No, but I don't know. The German league is... I like it for some reason. The conversion rate from, as you just said, Carl, the conversion rate from players generally who come from the German league to the English league is pretty high. Of course, it's not all the time, but is it because the football is more similar than like La Liga or Serie A?
If you see most players who come to the Premier League from Germany tend to do a good job. So I think. To be fair, I think the Bundesliga and the Premiership is like the nearest they are together because obviously they're both quite fast-paced.
Do you think that we should be? Go on, sorry.
If anything, German league's a little less lack of defensive stuff, and it's all about attack.
It's much more open, isn't it? Do you think we should be tapping that market more than we do then?
It's a difficult one, really. I think we should have this summer. I think we should have gone and tried to nick Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich. I think we should have tried harder to get Nkapia from Leverkusen. But obviously Ange didn't want them, so we have to just do what Ange wants.
We are still going to continue down the chat, guys. It's just David is obviously, this is what the show is meant to be kind of about. We're going to read the comments.
Yeah, go down the chat.
Yeah. So I'm going to continue down the chat, but one thing I'm going to say is I'm going to ask a question. It's related. Feeding grounds is what's coming into my head. What league, taking the Premiership out of it, obviously, because this is obviously where Spurs are. Which league is the best breeding ground for young players now outside of the Premier League? What market should, since it looks like we're trying to go down the youth route, what league should we be like, okay, let's send our scouts to that league. That league is where so many of them come from. What league would you send the scouts to?
So outside of England altogether, yeah? So
Yeah.
countries' leagues.
Yeah. Different leagues.
I would argue, if I had to pick a league, maybe Portugal,
Portuguese league.
because they're young, they're all very fast, skillful, seem to be quite resistant when they're on the ball. There's a lot of good youngsters are coming out of there. Maybe the Portuguese league, if off one of the lesser known leagues.
Yeah. See, in my mind, I thought it used to be the French league would be the kind of, because obviously it was quite close to England. So, and maybe in my head, it's like to acclimatise from England to France, probably, obviously it's a different language, but it's probably an easier to acclimatise. What about you, Boris? What did you think?
Colombia.
Colombia, interesting. Why Colombia?
We've seen what sort of players have been coming out of Colombia recently. Like, if we look at centre backs in Cape at Leverkusen, and then we look in midfield at Chelsea, Caicedo. Look how much Caicedo they paid. What was it, like 1 million or something? From the Colombian team, they bought Caicedo off. And
they sold him for 100 million, didn't they? They sold him for...
Yeah, like 100 million. I think it's 150 million in total, including add-ons. But that just shows you like how underutilized that league is, to be honest. Like, just due to the fact is, like, yes, it's going to be hard for acclimatization, of course, but I'd say that's the same with every league, really. I'd say there's still like even acclimatization for players coming up from the Championship into the Prem. Like, I still feel Archie still had a bit more acclimatization to do towards the Prem, even though he played essentially every single match he could when he was down in the Championship with Leeds. But another league I'd also say what's a good league as well is Sweden.
Swedish league. Yeah. Interesting.
Gyökeres, Isak, Kulusevski, Bergvall. I know another one, Martial, hasn't even worked out, but still, not Martial. Is it Martial? I can't remember. What's the Alanga? That's it.
Anthony Alanga.
Yeah. 5 Swedish players what have all made it to the top flights of European football, and then like there's all the past ones like Zlatan and plenty of other players. That's the thing.
Yeah. No, it's some interesting shouts. The Colombian league and the Swedish league. Do you think? We'll get to the chat.
All I think when you say Colombia is Carlos Valderrama. That's all I can ever think of.
When I think I get Colombia, I just think of Scarface film, which is not the same thing. That's just what goes through my mind. But looking at the South, I mean, Spurs have got quite a decent history, especially with Argentinians from South America. Is South America? I know we signed Veliz, but is South America, and Romero doesn't count because we got him from Atalanta. Do we not scout the South American leagues enough at Spurs? We don't dip into them much, do we? We haven't in a while. We've got a history of doing so, but not really under this ownership that much. Do you think we should be scouring those leagues a bit more? We've got Veliz, obviously, and the jury's still out on him, obviously.
He's been doing all right for Espanyol, to be honest.
Has he been good over there, has he?
He scored his first goal over with last fixtures.
And he's been nominated for U23 Player of the Month as well.
Okay, that's not bad.
Against the likes of Lamine Yamal and other sort of players, Rodrigo, so on and so forth.
That sounds like the kid's doing okay.
I think really like you're saying with the Argentinian league, I think a lot of it is like it can be quite hit and miss. Because if you look at some, they land and they're just unbelievable, but then you see other ones, a bit like Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea, it just doesn't work properly.
Yeah, and I know that it's difficult to buy players, isn't it? They've got different rules, and it's difficult to buy players. They've got ownership of players over there, haven't they? Which sometimes can make a lot of transfers more difficult as well. Right. Okay. So. We will go down the chat. Thank you, David, for that comment. It's sent us off in a direction. That was the point. To Milton. Hope Dummy gets well soon. Yeah, we all do. He should be back Tuesday as the plan. So it will be me and Bobby doing the Ireland versus England watch along. A little bit disappointed Demo's not there because there was going to be lots of banter.
What a surprise.
Yeah, what a surprise, eh? What a surprise. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, what a surprise. So when England beat Ireland like 4-0, Dermo won't be around. Yeah, interesting.
Not sure whether that happened with Lee Carsley in charge.
That's true. Milton and Berger saying, I thought Spence would have been picked for Europa. Would have thought he would have gotten more game time. Yeah, I think we all did. I think we're all a little bit surprised that he's not going to be playing at all.
Mm-hmm. I'd be really annoyed if I was Spence. He's fought so hard to get back into the team and then he gets dropped from Europe.
It's not exactly a vote of confidence, I suppose, is it?
No.
Milton saying again, have any of you guys seen much of Johnny Cardoza? If so, is he any good? And would he fit in the Ange system? Boris, I think to go to you first on this one. I think you know a little bit about him more than I do, anyway. What do you think?
Honestly, yeah, I think he would because of from what I've seen of him, and I've watched a couple of matches of Real Betis with him, and ever since we got linked with him, I think I've watched one match of him, and I've seen some highlights of his previous matches beforehand, and he performed pretty well in it. And another thing is he's a natural six, and he's not like a makeshift six. What Basuma, Sarr, Bentenko, and Archie are. He's a natural six, so you'll be able to slide in there no problem. And he's great defensively on the ball. He knows how to hold the ball. He knows how to. He's not even just like a actual six or just six back. He's also somebody who'd make plays as well. So basically, a bit like in Maddison, how Maddison drops really deep, doesn't he? A lot of times, he actually makes those sort of passes from his position. So Maddison wouldn't have to drop as deep, and you never know if that's the case. Maddison might actually be able to start scoring goals again and not be a one half of the season merchant.
No, Boris, I've heard people more knowledgeable than me, because I never claim to be the most knowledgeable football fan ever. I'm certainly not. But I've heard people say that there's a difference between a number six, a good number six, and a number six for Ange system. So with Milton asking this, would this player not, he's a good number six, but would it be a good number six in the Ange system? Because it seems to be a different thing than him just being a good number six for this system in particular. What would you say?
What would you mean by an Ange system?
I don't know. This is what I mean. This is what I hear. I hear there's,
It's a strange thing to say, though, like a six for an Ange system. So do you mean like high pace, speed, and stuff like that? And high pace, high pressing, and stuff like that? He's got the pace for it. He's got the ball control for it.
I think when I think of an Ange system, I think and like I said, I didn't really watch Ange in Celtic, so I've only really seen.
I thought we were getting somebody like Arne Slot or something. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, I think maybe the number six. I think Ange seems to want the number six to not just be a player who wins the ball back and then passes it to the creative players. I think he kind of wants. That's why I think he actually does like Basuma in that well, because I think he wants the defensive midfielder to carry the ball out, which Basuma. That's probably one of the things that he does best is that he does carry the ball. He'll carry the ball out.
Well, the thing is though, as well, like he's a number 4 for Betis, so he knows what he's doing, because otherwise, why would a player who's joined him, I think last year, only have like that low of a number when that's usually reserved for first team players?
Right.
And he knows how to gather the ball back. He knows how to get far up the pitch, and he knows how to do a good interception, and he knows how to make sure that everything's held up and nothing stops him. I mean, he's got quite good body strength. I don't know what you really want out of an Ange system of a number 6.
What do you think, Carl? You were saying something, mate.
Yeah, he'll fit Ange's system perfectly.
You think so?
Because he's a 6, but he doesn't just drop back; he pushes forward as well.
Yeah,
I'd actually say he's more progressive than Basuma.
Really?
He actually pushes, and he's a lot more passing forward. He passes the ball forward quite fast, and I fully expect Spurs to take the option up when we can to sign him, 100%.
Because it's only £21 million as well.
That's right. Maybe he is the answer then. But we won't be getting until next summer though. Or do you think we could go in for him January, or is it next
I
summer?
still think we could get him January.
It depends on when the clause is activated. Because he said sometime in the 24-5 season, so that could mean January time, or that could mean that could mean and ends up later on, couldn't it?
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see Milton, but the lads generally think that Cole in particular is pretty impressed with him. They think he'd do well in that Ange system. So I hope that answers the question, Milton.
Well, we need to start thinking more, because I think the problem is that these players should be doing better. I mean, it's a weird one at the moment, to be fair. If our finishing was any good, we'd be on 9 points.
Yeah.
The way we're playing is fine. We're just not hitting the back end of a bomb. That's the problem. But we should be. This is where these other clubs, big clubs like Man City now, their fans and their club expect them to win. And I think that sometimes we fall behind in the fact that we're like, oh, we played all right, but we may not have the points. I want to win every game. So I expect Spurs to cut out any issue and really go for it. So,
well, I said at the start. Yeah, I said at the start that I thought we'd be on 6 points, so I'm slightly under par by what I thought. Well, just quickly before we go on to Dermo, what did you guys? It's only 3 games, so any reaction to this season based on 3 games is silly. But what points did you think we'd be on after 3 games?
Oh, I thought 9. Honestly,
You thought 9.
I thought we could. We should have smashed Leicester. I don't know how the hell we didn't win that game. How the hell we didn't take out Everton was there. That was easy. We all saw how good that was. And then Newcastle. How did we not take Newcastle out? I've never seen a team go to St James's Park and just control the game as much as they did and just not win. It's just like there was just nothing. There was nothing up front.
Boris, what did you have us on before the matches? What did you think we were going to be on?
6 or 7 really, but I thought we'd either get battered by Newcastle or we'd end up just ended up dealing with it that easily. To be honest, I'd probably say in general, though, if I had to give it a choice in regards to it, we also have to remember if it was probably on any other day against like Leicester or something, first chances would have probably been buried. But it was the first match of the season, and unfortunately, if it was a different match, maybe we would have won. We don't know. Unfortunately, we might have walked with that game, like as Carl said, and maybe if Romero was on side, we would have probably either won that game or drew that game.
Yeah, in top level sports like this, it's just generally inches, and it certainly was for the Newcastle game and the Leicester game for sure. Okay then. Dermo is saying again, clubs thinking of themselves instead of the fans. People seem to forget the fans are the clubs. Vouter says no club. Yeah, that's to do, I think, with the ticket prices. Yeah, I mean, it's we're obviously a Tottenham channel, so our focus is more on Tottenham. But you're right, other clubs do it. Fulham have done it. Villa are doing it this year with the Champions League. That which does bring us on to David Clark saying Villa fans slagged Doug Ellis off for years, yet he kept ticket prices low for decades. And that's the thing about Doug Ellis. He was a little bit like Levy. I think that generally he lacked ambition. Villa never spent that much, really, even though they're the biggest club in the Midlands, aren't they? They're bigger than Wolverhampton. I'm probably going to get loads of heat for saying this, but in my opinion, they're probably bigger than Wolverhampton, bigger than Birmingham. I know those two are their 2 rivals. So Villa are probably the biggest team in the Midlands. But yeah, I don't know. Again, Boris, it might be slightly before your time, but Carl, you remember Doug Ellis, don't you?
Doug Ellis was a eccentric chairman.
Yeah.
An eccentric chairman who did love Aston Villa. He just didn't really have the money to push them any further. But I mean, he was there for years.
He was.
All the way through when I was a kid. And he did love them. He just didn't have that money to push them on.
For me, Villa were the. Obviously they've done well the last couple of seasons in particular. But for me, when I thought of Aston Villa, I just thought of them as the epitome of a mid-table club. Like when I see mid-table in a dictionary, I see Villa. Like every season, they'd always be finishing 12th or something, and that was the perception I had of them. Even though I know they had a big history, so maybe they are similar to Spurs a little bit. Not that Spurs are a mid-table club, but we were for a little while. But no, we're not that anymore. More on Villa. Dermo saying Villa last in the Champions League since 1982. Is it really that long?
Yeah, it was the year I was born.
1982. Bloody hell. I suppose that's why they're milking it for every penny. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but I mean, if you look at it that way, they know the fans are going to pay it. They know they are. That's why they're doing it, right or wrong.
Yeah.
David Clark saying, and Dougie needs a backup and not in case he gets injured. If you know where I'm coming from. I agree. Every player needs competition. And if I'm in Dougie, I wake up every day, I know that generally I'm going to be playing most games, barring some freak occurrence, because the drop-off so far. Ben Davies is such a drop-off, and you don't want to play Van der Ven unless you have to there. So how do you guys feel about that? Do you think Ndoggy this season is thinking to himself, I can do what I want, mate. I'm still going to play no matter what. What do you think?
Yeah, it certainly looks like that, because obviously Reguilon can't get into the team. And then you've got Ben Davies, and no one's picking Ben Davies ahead of a Doggy. David Clark's right. We need players who are going to... It's not about being backups. It's about being players who are going to compete, and you're going to be scared to death that you're going to lose your position week after week to someone else, and that's how you breed winners.
Boris, do you agree with David here, or do you think that there is sufficient quote-unquote competition or backup, however you want to view it?
There's not sufficient quote-unquote competition, of course. It's not, because it's one of the areas what we all said that we needed some more depth in regards to some competition anyways. But I'd also then say as well, I don't think Udoggy's got that sort of mentality, saying that he can slack off or anything like that from what I've seen of him. I personally don't know him, so this is just going off from what I've seen. It doesn't look like he's that sort of mentality type of player, so I don't think that'll end up happening. I hope I could end up being proven wrong that he does end up becoming one of those type of players, but we've just got to wait and see, really, don't we?
It is a wait and see. You hope that obviously he's got a professional enough attitude to where he'll still give 100%, and you'd like to think if Ange thinks that he's not giving 100%, that he'll give him a kick up the backside. That's what we hope. But yeah, it is everyone sees the transfer window differently. I wasn't a massive fan of it, as I've made it clear. I think Boris, you were slightly more positive about it than I was, and Carl, I don't think you loved it either. But why we didn't get some form of a left back, we didn't, you get even a young left back. Since we were so much for the youth this year, a young player who's a left back. I know Archie Gray kind of can play there, but it's really not his preferred. And Jed Spence, of course, and says that he can play there, but even Ange just said in his presses that, well, no, he sees him as a right back. He doesn't see him as a left back, but he can play there. Why didn't we go and spend and get a young left back?
I don't know. You can tell with me. I mean, obviously not on in our chats. I was spitting feathers.
I remember
there about the fact that we just wouldn't got a left back and leaving us so short, because it's the same thing every year. It's the same thing we always say as Spurs fans. Oh, we didn't do enough to.
We're always two or three players short, aren't we? We're always 2 or 3 players short. We never quite do enough. That seems to be the recurring theme. David Clark has also said, Ange, for the time being, will pick his senior players. If the game goes well, then he will use youngsters. But if the game goes against us, young players won't turn games around. Any thoughts on that? No?
I think so. David is right. He will pick the senior team and then use the youngsters as ones to come off the bench, which I'm not completely against, because I think Spurs have a habit of putting way too much pressure on our youngsters. But I don't want them to be made scapegoats if we start losing, because obviously we know we're fully capable of losing matches without any help from the opposition whatsoever by our own stupid errors. So,
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I agree with David as well. What about you, Boris? Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I just said the exact same. Like, yeah, it's right, really. That, and so it's Carl in regards to saying, like, we don't want to end up bringing young players on in those matches because otherwise they'll end up getting blamed for it in regards to it, even though they've done nothing wrong in that regard unless they've made a crucial error. But they're young players for a reason. And the players are bound to make mistakes and stuff like that because it depends on what side you're up against. Because let's say you're up against Rangers, now Galatasaray and Roma, those three teams. You make one mistake, you're going to get punished quite heavily now because I'm saying Galatasaray now because they've got one of the top 10 strikers in the world as their number 9.
It's crazy that it's crazy that he went there.
Well, he had no choice. Conte told him to bugger off. You're not ever getting back in the team.
I mean, as Boris said, he's in the top 10 strikers in the world. I think that's fair. And for him to be playing, crazy,
mate.
He
can't play every position.
Yeah. Thermo saying, question to the great panel: if you could pick one Spurs player for any era. Okay, yeah, well done. Yeah, one non-Spurs player from any era of world football, who would it be and why? And which Spurs manager would you pick and why? Okay, that's.
I would want.
Who wants to take this one first? any takers?
So I would leave the strike force because I do think that we seem to be quite good with strikers. Personally, right now, I'm happy with the defence, apart from that he just cut out the errors. So I would go for someone in the centre of the park. So in the modern era, I think I'd probably go for a Paul Scholes, who has the capability of running the whole of that midfield.
As long as he doesn't tackle, Carl, because he can't tackle.
No, we don't worry. With Spurs, we don't worry about tackling. Jesus.
You're right there.
So maybe a Scholes and manager. I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think it's got to be. It's got to be an Alex Ferguson, isn't it?
Yeah.
His Man United team is the most attacking and great to watch team in the 90s. Probably Alex Ferguson, who almost managed Spurs at one point.
I know. I'm going to go with 2 United people. It's going to be Alex Ferguson for the manager because he was just so dominant when I was growing up, and it was just like the guy just seemed to get every decision right more often than not. He'd make decisions, he'd change his team, he'd more often than not he'd get it right, wouldn't he? And if his team were losing, he'd figure out a way to get them back into the game. He just had that way of doing it. You know who I'd want? Roy Keane. Roy Keane.
You told me to worry about tackling.
Roy Keane, this mentality issue we've got at Spurs, somebody like Roy Keane would sort that out. He would. It wouldn't be pretty. It wouldn't be pretty at all. There'd be probably lots of bust ups backstage, and lots of bust ups in the locker room. But he would get some of these mentally weaker characters. He'd grab by the scruff of the neck and say, "No, mate. This nice guy Spurs stuff that we've been accused of. We got a Roy Keane in your team like that? That won't last long."
Well, we all know, as Dermo asked the question, we all know his would be Thierry Henry and Stephen Kenny.
Yeah, Stephen Kenny would be. He'd love Kenny for Spurs. He would. Boris, what would be your 2? Pretty tough question from Dermo here, but what would be your 2?
For player Moussa Dembele.
It's got to be non-Spurs.
Fuck, non-Spurs. Eden Hazard.
Interesting. He nearly signed for Spurs as well, according to Harry Redknapp, didn't he?
Exactly. And I'd say
nearly everyone's always signed for Spurs.
Yeah, Willian almost signed for Spurs. Hazard almost signed for Spurs. Let's be honest, if we probably go back far enough, we'll probably end up finding an article saying Pele almost signed for Spurs.
Wouldn't surprise me.
And then I'd probably say for manager, Johan Cruyff.
Interesting.
essentially the creator of attacking football, essentially.
So you'd want him to come in and literally just change a lot of how our youth teams play to completely revolutionise the club, then changing the club ethos and how we play. Interesting.
Yeah, well, he was the one who revolutionised attacking football inside of management. So yeah,
interesting.
Just the question's too loaded. Could you imagine Messi playing in that number 10 role?
Oh God, yeah.
Be amazing,
or even Ronaldo out on his left when he was.
Right, Dermo saying, thank you, Tequila, Carl and Boris. You lads are legends, and thank you for taking the reins off the channel. I am so appreciative and lucky to have a team. I have. Thank you, guys. Dermo, you're welcome, mate. Just rest up. And you are the face of the channel. Make of that what you will. Bless you, Dermo. But we want you back as soon as you can. But get on, mate. Hot God saying, I'd have Dave Mackay, full stop, Dermo. Always referring to Dermo. Incredible player and influence. Would easily take our team to the next level. Yeah. Dave Mackay is a legend. I haven't seen enough of him personally. What about you, Carl? Do you remember Dave Mackay?
Yeah, he was something else. Obviously, I was not old enough to see him properly. He was grown up, but what I have seen is unbelievable.
I've still got to go over all those videos Dermo gave me. I've gone through some of them, but not all of them.
He was one of those. He was one of those players that, when he had the ball, it looked effortless. It looked like no one could get near him. A bit like Dembele used to do. When he used to get the ball.
Press resistant, is that what they call it? Press resistant. 100%. Yeah. The real N7 Yid Lewis, big up, mate. This Spurs squad is well below average. We'll take that quickly. Personally, I wouldn't say it's below average. I would say it is average to me. I wouldn't say it's below average. What about you guys?
I wouldn't say it's below average, but time will tell how good it actually is. Like I said, it all depends on if we avoid injuries.
Now, Boris, I know that you're a bit more optimistic with the transfer window and everything. So, where would you put us? We're certainly not below average, are we?
I'd say, starting 11 is great, but once bar the right wing, because we don't know what the hell's going on with that position. But I'd say the bench, I will have to admit, even though I am optimistic about the bench, I do have to say it is average, the bench, or maybe just a bit below average, but not well below average.
Yeah, I don't think the squad's amazing. But no, well below average for me. If I think of average, then that suggests to me that you'd expect us, at least in the league, to finish 12th, if that's or maybe even worse. I mean, we won't be finishing outside the top 10. I think that's highly unlikely.
I hope so.
Yeah. Which is what I would class well below average to be, is that we'd be probably finishing like 14th or something. And I don't think so, although you never know. Let me tell you this, if we finish 14th, then there will be a new manager, like it or not. Right, Milton. Question to the panel. If Spurs went a whole season unbeaten but don't win the league, would you still call it the Invincibles? Yeah, well...
in that sense it is, because you are unbeaten.
You know what, Milton? If that happened, I would ask for an Invincible trophy.
Think about it. Think if you think about. I mean, obviously we've already blown it for this year because we've already won a game. But let's say you drew every game in a Premiership season and you got 38 points. Number one, you still might be relegated. Probably not. You'd probably just about get out. But you could still maybe be relegated at 38 points. Could you imagine being the team who drew every game?
Hell yeah! I'd have a bus journey around London. Just me on the top of the bus.
Just
Invincible.
We'd organise a parade, wouldn't we? I can see it. Unbeaten for the season.
You'd have to pay for it yourself, though. Daniel Levy wouldn't pay for it.
Oh yeah, he won't even hire the bus. Yeah, he won't even hire the bus, mate. Boris, how would you feel about being an undefeated team with only draws for the whole season?
I'd just say it'd be funny.
I wonder.
To be fair, we did go unbeaten at the old White Hart Lane last season before it got knocked down.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I wonder what team. I don't know. I'd have to look up on Wikipedia or something. I wonder what team's got the most draws ever recorded in a season, at least in the top flight.
It's probably
I wonder
us.
what. Well, there's like 1-5, lost 2 or something, or lost 5 and then drawn like 30, something crazy like that. I wonder what that stat is. That'd be funny.
Man City. 18,
Man City.
1993 to 94.
Really? How many draws did they get?
18.
Wow. So that's nearly half their matches. Oh yeah, right, yeah.
And the most consecutive draws has been Norwich with 7 back to back.
7 draws in a row. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting stats we're bringing up. David Clark saying in our first 3 games, if we had converted 30% of our chances created, then we would be sitting on 9 points. I think that we'll think that way yet. There's no denying that we've been a dominant force in all 3 games. I don't think anyone can really deny that. It's just been our finishing. Dermos again, please everyone pick up your memberships and send in super chat to help channel grow. Thank you for reminding me. I haven't been plugging that, Dermo. Yeah, so we have got all our memberships. We've got all our monetization back after those 4 or 5 months where YouTube would be in, I won't say that, I suppose, not very nice people. But we've got our memberships back. Any super chat, guys, if you want to throw in a super chat, we'll answer it right away and we will put you to the top of the queue and talk about what you want to talk about. That's the best way to put it.
If you get a membership or a super chat in, it'll keep us around for another week.
Pretty much. And the objective tonight is pizza, as I told everyone. So we're off to pizza tonight. Milton, Portuguese league is pretty good. Yes, I think that's what you said, Boris.
That was Cal.
That was Carl. Sorry, mate. Yeah. Yeah, so Milton agrees with you, Carl. Yeah, I still think the French league, maybe I'm just old-fashioned now. Maybe the French league isn't as good as it used to be.
Well, the French league used to be like the home of Ibrahimovic, Camavinga, all those sort of.
Remember, we got Ndombele came from the French league, so
the French league is tainted by Ndombele and Clinton NG.
Yeah, then by saying no French league, they love using their hands, and Boris love a bit of Pablo football. He's laughing at you, Boris.
Yeah, well, Demo's on about the French using the hands, but he's also going to forget that he loved a certain Welsh player, a Welsh beacher.
My Boris, we're going to have to put some boxing gloves on you too. David Clark saying, I think Spurs scouting organisation should follow Monaco recruiting system. They find unknown players and sell them for a fortune, then replace them with more unknown. Spurs could keep those players. Yeah, it is the same Brighton system. But as I said a couple of days ago, the only player that I think as Spurs that we've signed under that kind of system was Bergvall. Because yeah, fair enough. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't put Archie Gray and Odebert in the same thing. They're not unknown gems and we spent an awful lot of money on them. So Brighton probably wouldn't do that. Brighton would find these players.
I think Brighton's also moving away a bit from that system because you've spent 200 million this window.
Is that really how much they've spent?
I think it was around 200 million, yeah. But that was like 25, 30 million plus for a lot of players though. Like they got that Turkish right back, Federi or something like that. I can't remember.
So do you think then, Boris, that Brighton because they've made all these money because they've sold like several players for 100 million, that their chairman's finally said, okay, let's reinvest this in proper players, so to speak, ready-made players?
Well, the thing is, though, they don't even really need to sell players because I'm pretty sure their owner is still one of like the richest Prem owners out there.
Yeah,
well, but they go through that method, obviously. But I feel like they're going through the mate. They're starting to do what every other Premier League club is. So nobody looks at the players they bring in as much because of how cheap they got them for. So they're trying to move away from that method so they can use it for certain players from what it looks like.
Thing is that if everyone is now doing the Brighton method, then there is only so many players to go around. Do you know what I mean? There is only so many. So if everyone's doing the same thing, then
you also have to remember that Brian have lost a lot of their scouting management team as well. A lot of it has been headhunted to other teams.
Yeah.
Mainly Chelsea.
Yeah. Potter took a lot of them with him, didn't he? Pretty sure he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Potter took a lot of them.
Yeah, he took a lot of the coaching staff. The funny thing is that I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea find a 5-year-old Brazilian kid playing keepy ups in one of the favelas in Brazil, and they just put a £10 million price on his head.
Mate, they've probably already got one, and he's training in like the 17th training pitch, and they've forgotten he was even in the squad.
Probably.
I've got to catch them all. No, right, Bowley. Andy English, big up, mate. Hi, guys. It would be enough to scout the Swedish club BP, Deki, Lucas, Gigaretz, and Spurs ladies. Nilden Spurs ladies are from that Stockholm-based club. Do you know this club, Boris or Carwell? The club is talking about?
Yeah, it's the one, do you like what Kulu talked about before and stuff like that, saying where he came through the academy and stuff like that. That's the club.
So they're basically the biggest breeding ground for Swedish players, then, is it?
Yeah, they're the top flight one. And like we've probably got even more friendly relationship with them now due to the fact is we treated Bergvall's older brother at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Our medical team did some physio work on him and stuff like that as a help. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up having an affiliate link with them now anyways.
Yeah. Big up Philip Brady. Great show. Well done. Thank you, Mr. Godfather. Again, like Dermo, you take care of yourself. And then when you're ready to come back, we'll be here. Roundtable talk. Ooh, snap. Tequila's in charge. Look out. It's been surprisingly decent and surprisingly quite well behaved. I'm almost shocked.
Yeah, we just ramble on a bit too much stuff on what it looked like.
Yeah, we do talk too much, but yeah, it's actually been quite calm. I was expecting all kind of fireworks. I haven't screwed up massively yet. Still time, either. So, keep tuning in. Roundtable. The real N7 Yid Lewis is saying, "Come on, guys, you sound like Levy. Everything. Potential players. We should be demanding the best players or proven players." I agree, and that was my issue with the transfer window. I wanted a bit more proven players to go alongside the youth. So I agree to a certain degree. Brilliant. It's, I'm a bit more Levy out than I think the other two lads. Though Carl actually surprised me with his.
Hell no, I'm 100% Levy out.
Yeah. So I don't think. I think we kind of agree with you. With that, I think we all want. We wanted a bit more proven players. We did, Lewis.
Yeah.
We did.
And I agree with Lewis as well. Exactly. And for the players we've already got as well. It's like what he's saying is correct. We should be demanding that they know what they have to do to win, not giving them, they did it right, but it just wasn't meant to be. We should be like, right, you need to do this now.
The only thing I'll disagree with on you, Lewis, is the part of the end where you say the best players. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The best players aren't going to come to Spurs at the moment. The best players aren't going to come to Spurs. We can get proven players, the kind of level below, they'll come to Spurs if you pay them enough. The best players aren't going to come to Spurs. Not where we are right now. They're not. We need to be challenging for the title kind of thing on a regular basis and getting quite far into the Champions League on a regular basis. We're not a top tier club, right? Not in the whole framework. We're not. We're the tier below that. And if you want to progress to the top tier club, it's not something you just do overnight, really.
And the other top tier clubs really in the Prem now are, unfortunately, there's others in Tottenham, further up in the other part of North London. Man City and Liverpool, those are the only top clubs in England. Man United have dropped slightly below because of their recent history, but
I do agree, but then a little bit I do agree with Lewis as well in the fact that you still got to be in it to win it. Instead of these proven players, we should still be trying to get them. Not because you telling me that Galatasaray are in the same competition as us. No. We couldn't try to get Osherman on loan as well at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that there are some players who kind of not slip through the net, so to speak. But there are certain players that, yeah, we could have gone in for Osimhen. The wages probably were the big deal. That was probably the big thing.
It's
The
because he's got that
wages.
stupid apparent 150k cap he's put on the bloody squad, apparent.
Yeah, but you also have to remember that, like, look, even Chelsea couldn't get anything sorted. Chelsea, out of every single club, couldn't get a deal over the line with the wages. I'm pretty sure that says something in regards to how much he was wanting.
I just even if we didn't get him, just make a push. At least look like we're actually trying to. That was half the issue.
Well, maybe we went in for him behind the scenes. Like, I highly doubt it, but you never know. We might have gone in from him behind the scenes.
No, I understand what you mean, Carl. You want us to be showing a bit more, at least overtly, don't you? I understand what you mean, but also I understand that Boris is like, yeah, we don't know exactly. It could be that basically that maybe he was flogged around to all the main clubs, and the majority of us said, "You want how much?" and just laughed.
Yeah.
That's probably what the majority of the clubs did.
The only player that I'm aware of and have been told about that we tried to get last minute was Kingsley Coman from Bayern Munich on loan, but he wanted 300 grand a week, and that is why it didn't happen.
Well, I hope that answers the question, Lewis. We generally agree with you, I think, but all we can do, I mean, unfortunately, this is what we've got, and that's it. And all we can do now is get behind the team. Oh, Boris has dropped out. I think he's had a technical problem because he's left. Boris, if you need the link again, make sure it's in the chat. It is okay. So, Boris, the link's there, mate.
What did you say?
What did you upsetting, Carl? I don't know what you said, but you said something to upset him. Couldn't have been me, of course not. Okay, we'll continue on because believe it or not, guys, we have been going for actually an hour and 15 minutes. So we've actually been going on, and there's still quite a lot of chat. So if we don't answer everything in depth, it's because Boris is back, I think, because we're not going to be on that much longer because it is 10:15 over here in good old Blighty. David Clark saying, "I live in Leicester, and they have found more unknown gems than Spurs have players like Canty." Yeah, 100%. 100%. You had a great team. It must be pretty sad to see a little bit what's happened to you guys, I must say. David Clark saying, I've supported Spurs since 1960, so I've seen all Spurs greats, and my GOAT has to be John White. If he hadn't tragically died at 27, wow. 27 years after being shot by lightning, then he would have been really 27 years old.
Shot by lightning, yeah.
27 years. Welcome back, Boris, mate. 27
Cheers.
years. Cool. That is pretty heartbreaking. 27 years. I don't know him that well. Do you, Carl? John White? You know about this?
Before my time.
Mine too.
My uncle used to talk about him.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty tragic. Destiny 5 saying Forest.
I think that's in regards to you saying like Aston Villa are the biggest club.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. Okay, I concede that probably.
Yeah, two times though.
Yeah.
Was it the Champions League or I can't remember.
It was under Cloughy and everything, under Brian Clough and everything. They were amazing.
Yeah, I just can't remember if it was called the Champions League or it was the one before. It was the previous name of it. I can't remember.
Cup Winners' Cup, was it?
Maybe.
Yeah, for some reason it didn't pop into my head that they're Midlands. For some reason in my head I've got Villa, Wolverhampton, and Birmingham. Probably because they all are very, very close to each other. I lived there for about a year, so that's why it came into my head. Yeah, you're right though. I probably would put Forest. Yeah, I probably would put Forest ahead of them. Andy is saying, as a true Spurs supporter, you always give more love than you get back. Ain't that the truth? Destiny's saying Andy Robinson of Fulham would be great competition for Doggy. What do you guys feel about Andy Robinson?
Yeah, he's a good player. He's quite fit, quite fast.
Would you have taken him as competition for Doggy?
Yeah, I think they're pretty similar. I mean, I don't know how old he is.
24, I think.
Levy
Yeah,
would have Levy would have sanctioned that deal just about 24.
It's the sort of player we want, because I hate the word backup. I hate it because I don't want backups. I want people who can knock people out of
Compete.
positions.
Yeah.
I don't want no backup. Backups don't breed winners. You need people who have won squad or own positions.
I actually class them differently. So I suppose in like my perfect squad, I'd have 2 players fighting for a position, and then the backup would be a utility player like a Ben Davies, who would literally be backup for an emergency. That's my idea of a backup compared to competition.
No, he's 27 now. Yeah, so
27.
You know,
too old for him.
Or might be too old for Levy. That sounds very wrong.
I had this argument with someone the other day when we were talking about strikers, about saying that we should only ever have 2. And I said we used to have 4 top class strikers, all battling it out for 2 positions. So that's rubbish. We had Berbatov, Keane, Defoe, and Crouch at one point. So you can do it.
You can do it, and it is based upon how many games, right? Because if you got no European football, then maybe I can see it. But we've got European football this year, and I think there's a good chance we'll qualify for some form of Europe next season. So you can accommodate 3 strikers for one position, especially if the third player maybe is a bit more of a utility kind of, who can play like maybe Richarlison, who can play on the left as well. So there's room for that, I think.
Yeah.
Demo.
I think Solanke will come good. I still think he will. He may not be everyone's choice.
Well, I hope
still
so.
think if he was on the pitch against Newcastle, he would 100% won that game.
Yeah.
And I think Richie could be an impact. You saw how Johnson was as an impact player. He made it different coming off the bench and not having the pressure of starting. So maybe take advantage that way.
Well, it's not even just that. It's, as long as we can unlock Richie's purple patch again and make it so it's not just a purple patch, we might be able to get him into that sort of form consistently. Hopefully.
Yeah, he just needs to get himself fit. I mean, he wasn't this injury prone before he joined Spurs.
Well, no player is. Let's be honest.
Well, welcome to the Spurs medical team, everybody.
We have a doctor though.
Yeah. Dermo saying, right, lads, on Saturday, the Godfather will rain fire on the game. Bring your inner Michael Collins because the boys in green are going to beat England. I can feel it in my great Irish granny bones.
Yawn. You wait till Declan Rice scores a hat-trick against them.
Wow. Dermo will literally...
No, we'd have a hat-trick from Declan Rice, Jack Grealish, and Kane.
Wow.
And maybe a couple of goals from Harry Maguire as well.
I actually think it'd be quite close, but I do think that Grealish or someone will score and it'll wind him up something rotten.
If Grealish or Rice scores, and Dermo, bless him, he's going to be resting his back and he's just going to jump up and start running around in anger if either one of them scores. Bless him. Milton asks, do you guys think Mikey Moore is going to get much game time this season?
Yeah, in the cups, and maybe European competition as well.
Boris, what do you think?
Same as Cal, but I also think he'll probably get a few minutes in the Prem as well. But it'll be like if we're winning a game comfortably, like let's say if we're walking away with it like we were against Everton, or like 3-0, like 2-0, 3-0 up, something like that, then we bring him on.
Wow. Everyone stop the press. Look at that bottom message from Milton.
Oh yeah, San Marino got the first victory, didn't they?
How long did it take San Marino to win the game? Wow. That country's gone on strike. Yeah, that
run of 20 years without a victory by beating Liechtenstein 1-0.
That country's going on strike for a week.
Yeah, that country's going to have just an just an entire week off.
Apologies for making you skip down the chat. I just saw it out of the corner of my
No,
eye.
it's fine. It's fine, mate.
Well, there were games of Moldova, Gibraltar, Andorra, Gibraltar again, and San Marino. I honestly think they could probably get another couple of wins out of that.
Yeah,
Imagine
Liechtenstein.
this is Sandora's golden age.
The Liechtenstein coach is literally about to fall on his sword. Literally, he's going to go back home, and they're just going to be waiting for him. You've disgraced our country, and that's it. He's finished. He'll never work in football again, probably. Being the only team to ever lose to San Marino. Wow. Okay. Moving on, David Clark. Young players can only advance in their confidence and skill set if they are slowly brought into a winning team. That's why teams like Man City can do it. I agree mostly, guys.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a big fan of not rushing top quality talent in and ruining it.
Yep, same here.
Which we do have a habit of doing. So hopefully this time it's not the same.
What about, I'm going to give you a player here who knows anything but success, but he's highly touted. And this Brainweight from Everton. Now, he's meant to be hot shit, right? And he's probably going to go for like 70 or 80 million. They're asking for him. Obviously, he didn't go this summer, but obviously someone's going to pick him up. And this kid knows nothing but relegation battles. So is that a little bit of an argument against what David's saying here? What do you guys think?
I think it could be happen on both ends. Like you can either be, they can either learn from having to fight relegation scraps week in, week out, or they can be in a winning side and brought in slowly. I think if they are in relegation scraps week in, week out, it's either a do or die situation, really. They either succeed or they fail because I'd say like it being like a relegation scrap type of contender, that'd end up risking players more like if it's either a sink or swim.
Yeah. Scott Hynam, I don't recognise you, Scott. If it's first time, then nice to see you, mate. Please
I think I've seen him once in the chat, a couple of times in the chat before.
Okay, so big up, Scott. Thanks for joining us. Big up to you. Neil Shafton, I love Roy Keane. I think that was my comment. Yeah, mate, I'd love Roy Keane in this team. I just would. David Clark saying, manager Ancelotti. Interesting. I think the best football mind along with Pep for 50 years. That was in response, I think, when we were talking about which manager we'd have.
Neil Shafton.
Yeah, Neil Shafton. You need winners like Keane, Butts, Stuart Pearce. That is something we do lack. I don't think there's any argument here, guys. I mean, Romero maybe is the one exception because he's the only person who's won stuff in our team. Really. You think Son's a winner?
He won the Asia Cup. In a side where he's had to carry consistently. But let's be honest, what did Romero before Romero came to Spurs? What did he win in his club career? Nothing. He still hasn't won anything. None of them won anything in their club careers.
I think he's just got that temperament to be that sort of leader.
No, I mean, technically Boris is right.
Boris is right. Yeah, he's right. But at the same, I think it's a lot down to the players' own personal hype as well.
Do you think
they are? Do
you think though? And football's football, it is, but they're both international successes. We haven't got anyone who's had any club. Does that make any difference? Like I say, football is football, but there's been no club success anywhere in our team.
Only Maddison, who won the league with Leicester.
That's true, I suppose.
Well, was Maddison in that team then?
Yeah.
Was he in that team, or was he signed that year?
I think so. I think he was in that team. I'm sure he was. He played alongside Mahrez.
Oh, it might have been then, so... Mm-hmm. If he has, then he's the only one.
Yeah, I think obviously Romero is a Genoa. Jackerson was Genoa. Vicario wasn't. And Doggy wasn't. Pedro Porro, Lisbon Sporting.
Porro's won a few cups at Sporting.
So Porro's won a couple of things over in Portugal. Right.
Decky and Bentancur were both at Juventus.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the... They might have won a couple of Scudettos or something.
We have got winners. It's just something what happens. You come to Spurs and some sort of temperament change happens and you start doubting yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's. I'm not saying this is in a fit. I think some players just over hype themselves up. Like wants to get like a big move to the Prem, and like they hear everybody saying, "Oh, Spurs is a top 6 club." They think they're not going to have to battle as hard for victory, if you know what I mean. Like to
Yeah.
try and win, because they think it's going to be easy. Because if they hear fans and stuff like that, it's like from either opposition fans or other fans saying Spurs is in the top 6, they're not going to really. They'll think, oh, it's going to be a lot easier for me to win stuff.
Yeah. David Clark saying non-Spurs would be Pele. Hard to argue with that. Neil Shafton, hey, it's only 118 outside right now. Bloody hell, mate. I can't handle it when it's like more than about 70. That's my limitation. And again, I'm half Scottish, so I'm not meant to kind of be living in those conditions. I don't envy you, Neil, mate. Milton saying I would take.
Sorry, David was right. Madison wasn't in the team.
Madison wasn't in. Okay, yeah.
No.
Wasn't sure he was. Milton saying I would take Sir Alex as manager. Yep, and player I would take KDB.
Oh yeah, Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah,
That'd be one hell of a player.
He's a great playmaker. That kid. I say kid. He's not a kid anymore, is he? David Clark saying I had the privilege of playing table tennis with you, Eusebio, and the Portuguese 1966 World Cup squad. Wow, I was 12 and was picked out of a hat with 11 other kids in Harlow. Great player and a gentleman.
Unbelievable.
Wow, mate. That's cool. I bet you won't. I bet you. Well, you haven't obviously ever forgotten it. I bet you never did, mate. Why would you? David Clark also saying we will never go unbeaten because our middle name is bounce back ability, mate. Remember who said that? What was his name? Ian Dowie, wasn't it? Carl might remember that. I don't know.
Everyone was like, "Is that actually a word?"
No, it's not, but it's become a word. Well done, Ian Dowie. That's your claim to fame, mate.
Very clever bloke.
Yeah. David Clark saying also difference is when Levy sells expensive players, he has to have a garage sale. Yeah.
I think that's why we never go in for those really expensive signings, because most of the times they turn out to end up being flops. So I think Levy's just realised he's gone banned too many times.
Yeah. It's played a role, yeah.
We must be the only club in the Premier League who has an inability to sell people to Saudi Arabia. Because we're the only team where we don't seem to get any profit back from the players we buy.
Well, I mean, apparently they were all set for Richie. It was just Richie's personal choice. I mean, I don't blame him. I wouldn't think I'd want to go there either. But
the thing is, though, the fans also seemed to the ones he was going to Al Hilal. I can't remember the name of it. One of those teams, they were actually hating Richie and throwing racial abuse and abuse at him.
You can't exactly blame him if you're already hated before you've even joined the club. It's like, yeah, all right.
I'm glad we kept him because obviously we weren't going to replace them. So I'm glad Richie stuck around.
Yeah, chances are we wouldn't have replaced him. You're right. David Clark saying the only time Levy paid to full price is when he visits Soho. Mate, he ain't got to pay for that. He just flashes it. He just pulls out in his flash car and they just come running. Nah, mate, Levy ain't got to pay for it. Levy's way too wealthy overall that he ain't got to pay for it. Neil Shafton saying you have to find loopholes so you can violate rules and pay out a lot of money to buy the league. Do that and you become a top team. That seems to be the formula.
Why isn't Chelsea become a top team then? Well,
they did under Abramovich. I guess.
I'm on about now. They haven't become a top team now, and they've almost spent £1 billion.
No, now they've just gone nuts. Now they know that they've got a transfer ban coming.
Yeah, well, from what were rumours and stuff saying like that, it seems Nkunku might end up leaving.
Yeah.
I wish I could explain to either one of you guys what Chelsea's plan is. I don't think they have one. I think it's just like, he looks nice, I'll buy him. He looks nice, I'll buy him. I don't think it's gone any further than that. Doesn't seem that way.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Oh no. Do you know this match what San Marino just won? It's their second ever competitive match win.
Second? See, I didn't even think they'd won one before. I thought that was the first. So they've actually won one before then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thanks, Milton. We've had a laugh at that already. Tekken, great show, lads. Hope you're well. Big up, Tekken, mate. I saw you in the other chat earlier as well. Hope you're well. And the last one, and we're about 10:30, so we'll probably leave it after this one.
Yeah.
Madison wasn't the Premier Champions winning team. That's what you said earlier,
Yeah.
Boris. Right. So,
Oh yeah,
unless
I've got a bit more news from.
Okay,
Well,
go for it.
It's only supposed, from what I've seen and from what I've heard from sources and from other things and what I've looked at, it only seems to be rumours.
Okay.
But we are looking at Angel Gomez from Lille from France,
Yeah.
as he seems to be leaving on a free at the end of this season, so we could end up getting him.
Yeah, he's a good player. I know he is. Yeah.
I've also heard tonight, only rumours, of course, that we are taking a real look at Rabiot, who's currently a free transfer who could move now to the club.
Well, what would you feel about? What would you feel about Rabiot? I'm mixed. I'm mixed on him.
He's that midfielder.
If that midfield, if we're getting him on a free, why not?
Is that midfielder that we've lost in Skip? He's better than Skip.
He's better than Skip. I agree there. Is he going to be the wages? Is he going to be after the crazy wages though?
It depends on how much his mother tries to demand and has it put in her name.
Are you serious?
Well, that's the thing. It's like he's like Hakimi, is under his mother's name, all of his money and stuff, all of his assets. It's exactly like Hakimi.
I'm sure Levy could afford it. He saved like 40 million on salary this summer.
And there's no transfer fee, so I mean, I understand about players who ain't got a transfer fees wanting large wages. I get it, and I understand why clubs do it. So, how old is he?
He's 27, 28. I can't remember, something like that.
I think I'd go for it. I don't know if Levy will, but I think I would. Yeah,
no, I think Levy will because look at, we got Solomon. He was on a free, and he's 27, 28, and he was already considered to go out. Did he end up going out on loan?
Yeah, he went. Yeah.
Was it Leeds or something?
Yeah, he went to Leeds. Yeah.
Yeah, so exactly. So he was a free player, and there's probably like an optional fee on there, or like a mandatory fee if they get promoted.
We'll make a profit on him whenever we sell him. Maybe next season we'll make some kind of a.
I'm pretty sure as well, if I remember rightly, obviously not the European, the whole squad in general. There's only 24. There's a space left. I'm sure we only did 24. We didn't do a 25-man registration, so there is one space left.
One space left.
And you have to remember as well, under 21s don't have to be registered. So even if Yang comes in, he won't have to get registered.
So technically we could play Mikey Moore in all the European games because obviously he's well below that.
Yeah, but I think it's also because he's club trained as well.
Yeah,
like club run and stuff like that.
Right.
Let's just put it this way: the first 3 games of the season, apart from obviously the finishing, I've seen a lot there, which is a lot more confident I've seen in previous years. The way we're playing, we just need to get that finishing sorted so we can start turning them into 3 points.
We just need Solanke to come back, or Richie even.
Right. This will be the last one we're going to answer. Thanks, David. This is a good one to end on, I think. I will acknowledge Nick Fadley saying, why are guys all hiding? If you mean why have we got the cameras on, well, I don't actually have a webcam, and that's my reason.
Nobody wants to see me at 10:36 at night.
And it's just like I wouldn't use the word hiding, mate. It's just a choice. But if it bothers you that much, then normally the host. I'll be honest. Normally the host does have the camera on, but unfortunately, the 3 people who normally do have their cameras on are, one is on holiday, the other 2 are ill. So it is what it is.
Ill or family matters they're attending to.
Yep. But yeah, so the last question that we're going to answer is an interesting one. Doesn't involve Spurs per se, but this could be something that If Man City managed to find another loophole, it could be a big problem. Right, so congrats to Leicester City lawyers for avoiding a points deduction. They legally extended their tax year to 13 months, and so it went outside the time to charge Leicester. There was a whole thing on Talksport about this that I watched earlier on. And basically the idea is just like, basically they've got really, really good lawyers. And the big concern is that Man City are going to pull the same stuff because they're going to have really, really good lawyers. And I know it's not the same thing. But what are your concerns? How do you feel about Leicester, and any concerns about Man City pulling a similar trick? And we'll end it on this one. So,
so sorry to interrupt, Tequila, but we've just got a donation through from Nick Fadley.
Big up, Nick. Thanks for that, mate. You didn't have to do that. It just came for a quick visit. That's all right, mate. You're welcome.
You kept us in the job for another week.
Kept us in the job for another week. We might be able to get a slice of pizza. Big up, mate. I wasn't taking a shot at you or anything. I was just trying to explain that we're not really hiding. It's just normally the host does have the camera on, but it's just we're short staffed, so to speak. So it's like I never really have much. Yeah, normally I have some animation playing, but because I'm actually hosting the show and I've got a crappy PC, I didn't want to take the risk of having the animation because it drains my resources heavily. So because I'm the host today, I can't have my animation on. That's what I normally do.
Professional.
Yeah. So to answer the question, thanks for the donation, Nick. Normally,
very appreciated of the donor. Yeah. Thank you again.
Normally, the host does have the camera on. Normally, it's just this has all happened pretty fast. This is just like, okay, let's just throw a stream together, see what happens, kind of thing. But thanks for the donation, bro. We do appreciate it. No worries, mate. It's fine, Nick. Yeah. So the thing with Leicester and City, who wants to tackle this one before we head off? Who wants to go? You just want to go?
Just good lawyers.
Yeah, you think it's as simple as? Think it's just as simple as that?
They found the loophole and taken advantage of it. I don't think City can do the same because what I've heard, they haven't got those. There's too many issues for them to hide them all under one thing. But we will find out soon enough because the trial is starting this month, and we will find out towards Christmas.
Fair enough. I think I agree. I don't know if it's going to be the same for City. I just think there's too much fire with City. Leicester is more that they break like one thing. It's like, is he going to find 115 loopholes? What do you think, Boris?
I'd probably say the same, but you also have to remember if Leicester's lawyers are this good, Man City's on a completely different level because Man City's are backed by a state, so they can literally get the best of the best lawyers around. So I honestly think they'll probably get those charges knocked down to, I'd probably say, like maybe 50 or something. I know it sounds like a lot of charges will get knocked off, but I honestly think with the resources that Man City have at their disposal, I honestly do think a lot of the charges will end up getting knocked off with how good the lawyers are.
Yeah,
I think they will get some sort of point reduction.
Probably like I was going to say probably like even like a 20 to 30 point reduction, but that won't even really stop them, will it? If you think about it.
Yeah, I think
150.
Yeah, I think they'll have their super lawyers that will get them off some of them, but getting them off all the 150, I don't know. I don't know if there's even I don't even know if there's a lawyer that powerful. Maybe Lionel Hutz, if anyone knows who that is. Carl Mike from The Simpsons.
Hutz.
Yeah, maybe he could.
He's not getting off any of their charges.
Yeah, some super lawyer. Right, I think that's it then, guys. It was an impromptu stream. Like I say, it was a bit free form. It was just kind of like, let's see what happens. It was
you
quite
never know. While Lamley might get him off it.
You never know. He could do.
If he could come in the entire city into a monorail, you really think he won't be able to get them off it?
monorail.
Thank you, everyone in the chat for the patience, obviously.
And thank you again, Nick, very much for the donation.
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys.
We just wanted to put something out so everyone had something to watch. I hope it wasn't too strenuous for you. Hopefully we'll do some more.
Yeah, Dermo will be back on Tuesday, but there's no Spurs obviously this weekend.
We hope it'll be back on Tuesday if everything goes well.
Hopefully so. Okay then, guys. Well, like, subscribe, pick up your memberships if you haven't, or be like Super Nick and give us a super chat to help us on our way. But if if no one's got anything else, I guess I will play the outro if I can find it. Koi big for Saturday, Tekken says.
And then next Saturday or the Saturday after? Well, it's Sunday, isn't it? Next Sunday.
Yeah, we'll
He's
cover.
I think he's talking about Ireland. Just come on, you boys in green.
Well, I think we're going to smash them. Sorry, Dermo. We're all English here, aren't we? So come on, we're going to smash them. Yeah.
Exactly, we're going to smash him. Smash him 10-0. Nah, I think it'd be a close game. Not as bad as that. I'd probably say like 3-0 up though.
Jack Grealish is going to score.
Jack Grealish is assist from Rice. Jack Grealish goal. Can see it already.
And the Harry Kane weldy.
Yeah.
Halfway across the pitch like he did against Hoffenheim.
Looks good to me, guys. All right then. Is he joining?
Philip's joining that game. Joining the game, apparently.
Okay.
Wait, so Philip's going to be the 12th man for Ireland?
Keep all in track and make sure you don't misbehave.
We're going to have a ref cam on Philip while he's walking around the pitch.
Tekken, are you talking about Ray Houghton's wonder strike against Italy?
Remember 1990?
No, it was 94, wasn't it? Ray Houghton's to kick.
Tekken says yes. That's what he meant.
All right, guys. We're going to finish it off there. Thank you again for all of your chats and all of your questions again. We might be alive another day during this week, anyways, because probably more Spurs news coming down the line, anyways, within the next week. So, Tequila, will you take us out?
I will. Quiz. Lovely.
White shirts on the pitch, running fast through the night. Every heart beating loud under floodlit sky bright. So to London.